Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see everybody. The best of those that I can see. It would be nice if people would take their cameras and put them on so we can see your lovely faces. Hope everybody's enjoying the new year. And we have a lot to cover today. So without further ado, we have several speakers today. And our first speaker today is Council Member Robert Holden. I introduced, it's an honor to have him here today to speak to the members because I don't know if you guys remember, there was an interview done on me on Channel 2, and Council Member Holden was also in that same interview talking about how lovely he was and how much we deserve to be treated better. So I'm going to give you a little bit of his background, and then I'm have him take the floor. I'd like to now bring on our special guest today. But first, let me tell you a bit about Councilmember Holden and why we invited him to speak with you. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat, okay? I wanted to bring New York City Councilmember Robert Holden on because he has been a consistent advocate for probation. He cares about our work and the role we play here in keeping New York City safe and strong. He first joined the council in 2018 and was re-elected in 2021. His district covers a number of neighborhoods in Queens, such as Mathpeth, Glendale, Middle Village, and Ridgewood. Robert Holden is a lifetime New Yorker and hails from Middle Village in Queens. Before becoming an elected official, he was a graphic designer and a professor at the New York City College of Technology, CU, in CUNY. And for 25 years, he served as the president of the Jutna Park Civic Association, which represents the neighborhoods of Middle Village and Mathpeth. I want to mention that throughout his career, he has been a champion for a strong New York City. He is co-founder of COP 104, a coalition of civic groups within the Community Board 5 area that sponsored monthly police and community forums for more than 20 years. He was a member of Community Board 5 Queens for 30 years, served as first chair for 7 years, and has been a chairman of the board's Public Safety Committee for 13 years. I listened to his public remarks and also noticed his support for our members on Twitter. And so we wanted him to join us today. Councilmember Holden, thank you for being with us, and I'd love for you to talk a bit more about your work on the council and, of course, about your support for probation.
Thank you, President Powell. By the way, we had when was that hearing? A few weeks ago, public safety. I support the police. I support law enforcement. I support obviously you all because you have probably one of the toughest jobs, and that's why I'm here today, just to say I have your back. And, from that hearing, we did get Commissioner Holmes to agree with us, didn't we, Delvani? We actually got her to say she supports uniform status, I believe she said, right? And again, you're so underpaid and underappreciated, I believe, because to not give you probation officers to give them uniform status is kind of an insult, I think. And it's long overdue. We're going to push for it in the council as much as we can. The budget, you heard, I don't know if you heard today, it's I think it's 106 billion. So I think in there we should first of all get a fair contract, but the uniform status is a must, and that's not going to really cost anything other than give you the respect that you deserve. So, and like I said to Delvani, I said, because I was on public safety, like I said, I'm 6 years now on public safety committee, and I know probation officers, you all act as mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, and, from the people you serve. You keep people out of jail, you get them on the straight and narrow, and you have to be recognized and valued appropriately for that. So that's why I'm fighting for the right thing. I'm not in this, by the way, I had a previous life before I became a council member. 44 years I taught in CUNY, City University of New York, in downtown Brooklyn. I've launched over those 44 years, thousands of careers for our teens and young adults. And I have so many students coming back. And I even hired one a few years ago who come back and say, they call me Professor Holden. So it's like, I have a couple of different, Councilmember Holden, Professor Holden. So it's like I answer to both, but it's just, you have 44 years invested in the youth of our city. You get a great feeling when you see them succeed. And I think that's what you get, probation officers, when you see someone who gets their life together, and you had a big part in that. That's a tremendous, you get tremendous satisfaction from that. So the work that you're doing is so valuable to the city of New York. So that's why I'm fighting for you. That's why I'll go the extra mile. Anytime President Powell calls me, I'm there. You know, if you need me to get onto a hearing, I'm there. But I'm fearing that we're going to lose members, probation officers, to other jurisdictions with higher pay, better benefits. So that's what we really have to, alert the city. And I'm going to alert the mayor, and I've done that already. But we have to drive it home, because let's face it, we're losing cops, we're losing correction officers, and we're losing probation officers to other municipalities. And your training is so valuable to the city. So, we want to cut the jail population, but you can't do it artificially, like under Mayor de Blasio. We just started emptying the jails, and that saw the rise in crime. So what we have to do is obviously value probation officers and all the work that you do. So, and recognize the increased workload that you're under now with less members, fewer members, and also with raise the age, right? You have more clients, so you have a bigger workload and just a lot more stress on the everyday probation officer. So like I said, we have to do a lot of work in the city, but now's the time on the budget. So Nobody, I don't know if you want to open up the floor to questions, or anybody, you might have a question.
Yeah, I do.
But
So-
we're working on the budget now, by the way.
Great. So one of my questions, I appreciate you. Once again, I want to tell you that I appreciate your support, and we look forward to working with you in any way we can help you as well. But one of the questions I want to ask, so far we've had the rally, and the city, the Women's Caucus came and supported us on that. And so do you have any other suggestions of what else we need to do, that we need to do to go forward for our voices to be heard? Any suggestions?
I would try to continue. You almost have to be a pest.
Yeah, I could do that.
You could do that.
Easy. No problem.
you really, the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
That's
so
right. That's
you
right.
really have to, and where I think you have, I think you'd have the mayor's ear. So
Yes,
I don't know if you met with some of the mayor's people,
Mhm.
and certainly, I think, the speaker should meet with you if she hasn't yet.
Okay.
Now is the time. The next May is like a critical month. We have to pass the budget by June 30th. That's a deadline. We never go beyond that. So May is the time to get, the asks in and get everything requested, but make sure that they recognize and try to get across to the mayor's people. If you don't meet with the mayor, you meet with some of his aides.
Mhm.
Try to get some stories of, success stories that you all have,
Okay.
and highlight the big ones that kept
Okay.
somebody out of jail, that put somebody on the straight and narrow, like I mentioned before. There's nothing more important if you could stop that person from ruining their lives and ruining other people's lives in crime, and get them, like I said, get them to turn around their lives. So you have to be psychiatrist. I mean, you have so many hats to wear.
Yeah.
But you are uniform, and I think that's important to get that across, and to have the mayor fight for that.
Okay.
I know they're going to say it's collective bargaining. That's what they always say. But
Right.
this is the point where I think this is the year you have to get that,
So
with all the pressure that additional clients that you have.
So to become uniform, is that something that has to be litigated, or something that or something that could be done locally, or local laws or something?
Well, I don't know if it's a state issue, the state has to do it, but you can get the mayor to I think it might be a state thing, but what I was told is collective bargaining also, so the union can argue that
Mhm.
why you should have uniform status, because you are officers. So that it's ludicrous to not to have uniform status. But it's very, but even if you have the argument, but I think also the raise in pay, the new contract.
Mhm.
How many years do you have without a contract, or?
November 2020. We start negotiations, hopefully next week, which our attorney, Harry Greenberg, will touch upon later, but, we start negotiations next week.
Well, the good
Or
thing is,
2020.
the good thing for you and your members is the police got a pretty good raise. So I think that, that is a good thing to follow, because you can argue, look, the police got it. We do our work is just as important in the realm of public safety. So,
Right.
and then again, your members have an increased workload. I think if you could demonstrate that, how many probation officers there are, how many you're down, how many you need to catch up to handle the workload, I think that's important to drive home. And then I'm
So-
sure you'll get a good contract, but I think this is the year, by the way, because the
Yeah,
out years,
I think
next
so.
year and the year after, they're going to be lean years. That's what we were told. So this is the
Right.
last year that we're going to have money. So you have to get the contract this year. Otherwise it'll
Yep.
be, if you wait till next year, if you
Right.
go another year, you're going to be probably have a tougher road to hoe, really, because it gets to the point. The budget's not looking great on the state level. Also, the state didn't pass their budget yet, and the mayor mentioned that. Usually the state does it now, and then we follow. City
Okay.
follow.
All right. Did you ever get a chance to tour the boroughs yet, Mr. Councilman member?
The what?
Did you ever get a chance to tour any of our sites yet? Remember
Not
you and
yet,
me had
no,
talked about
not
it?
yet. No, it's been crazy because we're on the budget. So, when things will calm down, like I mentioned, if the budget passes toward the end of June, I'll have time to just relax.
Okay, so
It's
we'll
yeah.
reach out to your office at some point and we'll coordinate something after everything calms down so you can come and hang out and see the work that these wonderful ladies and gentlemen is doing out in the community. And we appreciate that.
Right.
One question is, if you know the answer, or maybe our attorney Harry Greenberg will know, is there a benefit somebody's asking to be in uniform versus civilian?
Well, what I
From
think
what
is,
you know.
because you're a uniform, you could be on par with other uniform agencies. And I think you have to drive home, like, if you could say other cities that are around us, and even that they have uniform status.
Mhm.
There's also more benefits, I'm told, to having uniform status.
Mhm.
So I think you'll see a definite benefit. I don't know exactly all the ins and outs
That's
of
okay.
of uniform status, other than I think you the pay parity then would be, and the respect.
better.
It's also a respect part of it too.
And the fact that the city, I don't know all the ins and outs, like I said, Mr. Greenberg can speak to that, but I know that the fact that us being considered civilians is having a hindrance on how our salaries are structured, which we know is not to be true, because the city, we had met with Mayor Adams people and Deputy Mayor Banks people, and we was told during that meeting, not that's from the city, that's when we found out that probation officers were considered civilians, and that we was told that civilians therefore do not get their top pay, which we know that not to be true, because we know that the sheriff's office and youth council and a lot of other civilians do reach their top salary within 5 or 7 years. So we know that not to be true. So that's something we're going to definitely bring to the table, because that's not a truth.
How long before you as a probation officer reach your top salary?
We don't.
You
I
never,
told you that when I first met you.
that's right,
don't.
that's right.
We
have to
don't. It's like chasing the carrot. It never happens. So those are the one of our objectives during this next bargain, is to actually read.
Well, that's probably the benefit then, I would imagine. Where all, police officers do reach a top salary just with years of service.
Right.
So
And the fact that city council in their in their report in 2019 compared us to corrections because we're community corrections, and they showed the disparity between correction officers on Rikers and community correction officers, which are probation officer, the disparity in how after 5 years, a correction officer can say for a fact that they make X amount of dollars, whereas a probation officer after 11 years is only making 50 something $1,000.
Did you tell me that they have a quota system on promotions? Is that true?
There was a point where the department had hired people from the outside, and that was the issue. But that
no, but from within, let's say there's certain levels for promotion. I had a job when I first started in CUNY. There were lab technicians there that you couldn't get promoted because they said, well, only there's only 5 spots, 5 lines for a chief lab technician. And so many people, and I think they overturned that eventually, but that was like a quota system where that's how they control the budget. So I don't know if you have that structure, but
no, we don't have a structure of it. It's based on, hold on, Carol. Based on I'm not sure I'm put you back. It's based on the operational need, because they've been promoting a lot of people, and we still have, actually we have an active supervisor list right now, and they haven't completed. The list has 194 people. They're up to like 137 people. So as far as the people we represent, they're still being promoted, and they're still promoting administrative probation officers as well. But the problem with that, as far as administrative probation officer exam, there hasn't been one since 2007. They're pretty much picking who they want to pick to fill those spots. And we're asking for an exam to be.
Well, you have to also demonstrate to them how much, like, let's say somebody's been your members 15 years, what are they making? 20 years, what are they making compared compared to officers, police and also correction officers. So you're part of criminal justice, and I think everyone should be on the same level, at least in pay.
Yeah, we should. And we should, like I said, I should be able to tell my members that after X amount of years, this is the kind of money. And the fact that probation officers have to have a college degree. In order to walk in this door, you have to have a college degree, whereas the other law enforcement have to have a certain amount of college degree, but they don't have to have a 4-year degree.
Well, they're lowering the standards on police officers now, where you don't need you don't need a college degree. That's what they're proposing.
They just need a couple of credits, right?
Not even that. They used to need an associate degree, but the mayor's proposing, that was proposed this year, that they want to lower the standards, and it had the backing of the police commissioner. They because even the physical training, they're lowering that, but also the 2-year degree, which I wasn't for, because I think a police officer should have at least some college level.
So what do you guys do? Have high school diplomas?
Yeah. Essentially, that's where we're headed.
They're gonna do that to corrections too?
No, I don't. They haven't mentioned They haven't mentioned anything in corrections or probation.
She can't get me.
But they said police officers. So if they're going to raise the pay of police officers and lower the standards, I mean, that should leave the door open for probation to get their fair share and get something like that.
I'm gonna tell you something, council member. We should get more than that then, because if we have to have this is just my opinion. If we have to have college degrees, be the mama, the daddy, social workers, be the true agents of change, because we're the only law enforcement. In addition to our college degree, we have to be the ones to change the behaviors as well. That's why we call community corrections, right?
Like I said, but like I said, they should double your salary. I think I mentioned
you said that.
I said that at a hearing, because obviously with inflation, with what you have to do, you have to have a college degree, and like you have to wear multiple hats. You have to be a psychiatrist, you have to be, like I said, mother, father, brother, sister. You have to do cheerleader. And you go in some dangerous situations often.
Yes, we do. So
you're in harm's way, and you have a very stressful job, and you have increased workload. So that's the formula for to me doubling the salary. So I think you should aim high on this and say, look, we're way behind our other other cities that are around us
And other
in
counties,
pay.
yeah.
And,
yeah.
and their cost of living is much lower than New York City. So mention that New York City has one of the highest, obviously, cost of living. And with inflation, your members are behind the 8 ball now. Your
Yeah.
members cannot survive, and you're losing you're gonna hemorrhage members if
Yes,
we
you
don't,
are.
if we don't straighten this out. So that's the argument. And again, anything I can do, talking points to the mayor, let me know how your meetings go, and I'll certainly, I got the mayor's ear. I could text him and call him.
Okay.
And so if you feel things are not going well, please reach out to me.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate for having you.
Thank
and
you
we
all.
appreciate you. And if we have any questions, we'll send you some questions to
Great.
the office.
Thanks
And
so
I'm
much.
gonna talk to you later. I'll reach out to you later.
Thanks so
Appreciate
much.
it. Okay, thank you. Everybody say thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, so that was a good discussion we had with Councilmember Holden. And if you ladies and gentlemen have any questions, should we have a step plan for 20 years and better for the, Vanita, you talking about for the money? We should have one of the questions I think is, should we have a step? We don't even have a step plan. Those are just like raises. What we want to do is, Harry will talk about the contract and what we're looking for after when he comes on. Let me, we have another, right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go on to our next, is Carol on? Is Carol or Mary Ann on?
It's not letting anyone be on 100 and.
Wow. Alan. Where's Alan? Alan Sachs.
Hi.
Alan,
Yeah.
Alan, Carol can't get in.
We have to lose 2 people and and see if they're in the waiting room.
Alan, don't go nowhere. You know what we'll do is
I think I can handle most of it.
okay, so tell Carol, we have to call Carol and we'll circle back with her.
Okay.
Okay, because we didn't, Tanja, they didn't let that, I thought they had, all right, so anyway, we were supposed to have another guest speaker to talk about the annuity, but what we do have on, they can't get in, so we have to figure out what's going on with the technology. But what we do have on Zoom with us is Alan Sachs, who's going to be the administrator for our annuity fund. And I've been getting a lot of calls and a lot of questions about the status of our annuity, especially people who has retired and that's eligible for the annuity monies. So I'm gonna have Mr. Sachs, who's on now, to talk about the annuity funds and the status is and where we're at and where we're going. Okay, Alan.
Okay. Hi. So with the annuity fund, the next step is applying for IRS to qualify the plan, to be a qualified plan. So you'll be receiving in the mail in the next few days a letter, a cover letter, informing you that the plan is filing with the IRS. And enclosed with that is what's called a notice to interested parties. And as an annuity fund member, you are considered an interested party. And the letter will have information about, has the plan name, the plan number, who the plan sponsor is, the tax ID number, and the plan administrator. And it's informing you that the fund is plans on filing for the IRS determination to be a qualified plan, and that you have a right as a interested party to send some comments to the internal to the IRS employment plan determination as to whether you feel whether this plan would be a qualified plan or not. So it's just the next step in becoming a qualified plan. And enclosed with that letter, for those participants who had an account balance as of June 30th, 2022, the plan year for the plan runs from July 1 through June 30th. So what's required is on an annual basis that you receive an annual statement of your activity. So the plan just finished the financial audit for the plan year ending June 30th, 2022. And you'll be receiving on the cover letter for those participants, it'll show your opening balance as of July 1, 2021, which everyone had a zero balance. It'll show the contributions received on your behalf during that 12-month period, and the investment results, and then your ending balance as of June 30th, 2022. So you'll have that information. And then throughout the year, you can always go on our website. It's ASONET.com, and you'll be able to track your contributions and account balance. And then there's a third item in the mailing that you'll be getting, and it's called an annual membership report. In the past, you'll recall receiving this report. It shows your plan assets, liabilities, and also the income and expenses of the plan. In the past, you would have received it for the active security benefit fund, for the retiree benefit fund, and now there'll be a third column for the annuity fund. And that's it's a nice document. It shows just shows the overall activity of the fund, and that's something that's required that you receive. And once the plan is, we're also in the attorneys are also in the process of working on the summary plan description, and the summary plan description will explain how your account balance is maintained and when you can take a distribution and other operations of the plan. So the way the plan in general is going to work is on a monthly basis, we receive the contributions and post it to your accounts. And then on a quarterly basis, the auditors review the accounts and then provide us with the investment results. And on a quarterly basis, we'll be applying the investment results. And then a common question that we're getting now is, can I get for those who have already retired or terminated, you would get a question like, can we take a distribution? Unfortunately, we cannot do the distributions until we get the IRS approval of the plan. So once the IRS approves the plan, a letter will be going out to the participants saying, now we're fully operational. And for those people that would like to take a distribution, we'll send them an application for distribution. Another common question is, can I take a loan or like a hardship withdrawal? These plans generally do not allow for hardship withdrawals or loans. This money is meant to grow and hopefully be there for retirement. It would be very cost prohibitive for these plans to have those type of provisions. So that is, and then you can stay in the plan. Like when you retire or terminate, you don't have to take your money out. You can stay in the fund, but then upon age 72, you have to start taking what's called the required minimum distribution. And that because this money is something negotiated by the union, and this money is growing and is tax-free, eventually the IRS wants to get their money. So when they say, okay, at age 72, you have to start taking your money, and then it'll be taxable. And then with the distributions, there'll be two types of distributions you can take. One is a cash distribution, in which case we withhold taxes. And then the other type of distribution would be you can roll the plan over to another qualified plan, in which case 100% of your money will be rolled over without any taxes being taken out. And so hopefully we'll hear from the IRS soon and get move forward. One thing that's very important is to remember is to make sure that you have a beneficiary, that you sent a beneficiary designation form in. And if you have any changes, to just make sure that you keep your beneficiary updated.
Question. That's your question?
Yes.
Alan, when the time comes to receive the monies once we're, eligible, once the IRS clears us of the
Yeah.
ability to distribute the monies, can the member ask for it in lump sum, or is it like the deferred comp, you can get it in portions, or how does that distribution work?
This would be a lump sum distribution.
Okay. And one more question, when people come from other agencies, this is a question I get during the orientation. When people come from all the other agencies, right now, they don't have the ability to let me ask you a question. Do they have the ability to deposit the money, have the money transferred into their account with UPOA? Or do they need to, also, do you suggest that they just let the money sit there and then transfer? How does that work? Because
In general, when it's one city fund to another city fund, in general, the plans are allowed to accept that rollover. If it's from another, let's say it's a private fund from another, like a non-city employee plan, then the plan generally are not able to accept it. For that I have to find out from the attorneys whether we will be able to accept rollovers. But in general, for the other city plans, it is allowed.
So can they roll over now, or do we have to wait for the IRS to give us that the letter that we need?
That I'd have to find out from the
From
from the
attorney.
attorney.
Okay, cool. So Cal, all right, so I think you covered it. Anybody else has a question they want to put in the chat? Oh, question, the rollover fund, when you want to take some money out of the new account, do you still have to pay taxes on it?
If you well, first you won't be able to take money out until you retire or terminate from employment. So there's no like, if you're in active status, you'll not be able to take a distribution. And what was the second half? Can you take out a portion? And when we do a cash distribution, taxes, we withhold 20% federal withholding taxes. And but if you roll it over to another plan, then no tax. Then 100% is rolled over to your other plan.
I don't know if this question is for you or Harry. When we sold the contract, my first contract, and we got this annuity for the first time, who was eligible for it? Or do you guys, I shouldn't ask that question. Like the time frame, was when we sold that contract, was it somebody, the officers had to been on duty active at the time of we sold that contract? Or how does that work? Because some people, I don't know how that works. How does that work, Harry? The annuity, who's eligible for the annuity? The time we signed the contract?
No, it's from the time, it's in the contract, it's in the memorandum of understanding. It tells you the effective date.
Okay.
On board at that time, and it's retroactive for that particular person.
Okay.
Everybody might be different.
Oh, okay, cool. Any more questions you want to put in the chat? I think that's it. Alan, thank you.
Okay, take care of it.
So you'll be sending out the financial,
that went in the mail today, so it should start hitting everyone's mailboxes in the next few days.
All right, so you guys, you look out, and if you don't get anything, make sure that, because you'll be getting a lot of mailings. So I'm getting ready to tell you about something when it's my turn. You start getting a lot of stuff in the mail, so please make sure that you update your address information, which you can go to the www.upoa.com and get the change of address form, so you can make sure you're getting all the documents that you need to get. All right, Alan, you have a good night, and we'll touch base with you. I already told Carol you had it covered, so appreciate it. Okay. So next up, we have our attorney, Harry Greenberg, who's going to talk about the Medicaid Advantage and our up and coming contract. Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah.
Two important issues to talk about. We've been meeting to propose to the city what we need, and we've listened to many people who've told us what they think they want and what we want to get for them. There have been two settlements so far. One is DC 37, which is the civilian settlement, which is less than the PBA settlement, which was just ratified on the 24th of April. Over 2 points more than the civilian settlement. the DC 37 was not a bad settlement at all. It was 3s and 3 1/4. But there was a $73 million, which was funded half by the city, stipend, which they're going to be able to use in certain ways. And that's like for equity or things that need to be fixed. So DC 37 extended their contract 5.5 months to get the money that they needed to fix up some of the problems that they have. The cops did better. The uniforms usually do, not all the time, they get a little bit more than the civilians, and that's been historical for, I want to say, 40 or 50 years. And they did this time. However, they also changed things that are going to be what they call a pilot program. And that pilot program is them to work 10-hour tours for some groups and 12-hour tours for some groups. Now, that may sound great because you're only coming into work half of the time, like 6 months, a year, because they're working 3 on and 3 off. So if you're working half of the time, instead of 365, you're working 182 days a year. And you get 3 days off after each one. And then they get 88 hours extra because they're working more than a 40-hour week. And then there's some other changes that they've made that are in a pilot program. We're looking at that closely, and we just got the costings from the city literally hours ago. And we're going to look at it to see exactly what they gave to get what they got. And we'll have to see where we stand. And I believe we're going to go in the first week of May to bargain, our first bargaining session. We've come up with some proposals which we're not going to publish, because you always ask for more than you think you're going to get. And I don't want to have anybody's expectations beyond where the reality is. And the things that we have to fix. You have a lawsuit out there that talks about discrimination because of women and people of color. That's things. And you have a salary schedule, as was talked about with the city council person, where nobody gets above the bottom line. There's a salary range, and you get other monies that give you more money, but you don't go up a schedule after 1 year, after 2, after 3, like others. And that's important for us, among other things. You have to have a college education, as was mentioned before, where now the police may just come in with a high school diploma. All these things we've been looking at and getting information for probation officers from Long Island, Westchester County, and other places to make the argument. By the way, we intend to make the argument, people pass the test, they come in and they quit right away. They quit to go to other jobs, or they're not getting paid enough. And they're right. And we have to fix that. That is a thing that we need to fix. And with this new commissioner, it is very possible she will support that. I think she said something in her testimony in the city council, right? So things are starting to mesh together to see where we're going. You have a good board, you have a good group together, and we'll be reporting back to you, not on as much as you want to know, because we can only tell you what we can absolutely tell you. Things can change, and we don't want to have somebody said, but you told me something, because things can change, and that's beyond our control. So that's where we are with collective bargaining. I think our first session is going to be around May 4th. We're looking to get that confirmed, if not today, tomorrow, and then we'll make more dates to try to come up with a quick contract, but one that you'll approve. As far as Medicare Advantage, We all know that in 2014, the city and the MLC negotiated a savings on health to the tune of $3.4 billion reoccurring. And in 2018, another 1.1 billion. And then for the retirees who are over 65, there was an agreement that was reached for $600 million a year reoccurring savings. There's a woman named Mary Ann, I forget it, so her last name starts with a P, I forget what it is. And she sued. She got people of a lot of teachers together and they sued. And they said, you can't do that, that's illegal. There were 7 causes of action. They lost 6. On one, it said, you have to only have one. And the one that the appellate division agreed with that. And the one that they have is going to call Medicare Advantage. Now, it's not the Medicare Advantage that you see on TV. It's the same doctors, it's the same hospitals, it's some better benefits. And Aetna, who won the bid, is coming around. And Katrina is getting to have these people meet with you for the retirees. If you could tell them, we'll get a date soon. They'll come around and tell you all the specific benefits, and you're still not paying premium. Everybody around you is paying premium. There are some co-pays, but they're not a whole lot compared to other people. Having said that, that's separate from bargaining a contract. That's separate, that's done by the MLC. And from people who were doubting that it was a good change, which will be in effect September 1, unless there's another lawsuit, which could happen, September, the city is losing $50 million a month because of these lawsuits, right? And somebody's going to have to make that up. And unfortunately, it's not the people that are suing who have lost 6 out of 7 causes of action. And now they're not happy that we can't offer them something that they now want, which is this. If there was no lawsuit, you could take the Medicare Advantage, which is Aetna now, or you could keep what you have, but you had to pay $192 a month for you, and if you have a spouse, for your spouse. Now that they've lost what they lost, they want to try to get that. City's saying, no, we can't give that to you. That's the savings. And the money is coming from the federal government. So the city is happy. We're happy you don't have to pay premium. You got the same doctors, the same hospitals, and you get some increased benefits. And if you're going to talk to any retirees who are over 65, when we set up these meetings, tell them to go to the meetings and get it from the horse's mouth, not from somebody who is interested on just spoiling things, in my opinion. So that's really what I need to tell you. Things will be starting to move a little faster than usual on our contract. And I hope in the short term, we're able to come back with a contract that you'll approve and will make more sense so we can make sure everybody's not stuck on the at the bottom of the range. Katrina, back to you.
Thank you, Harry. Appreciate you. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
All right, so I want to do some housekeeping and give you guys some updates on what's going on. So I met with Commissioner Holm on 2 occasions. I met with her personally, and then the executive board met with her on the 17th of April. She's doing a lot of talking to a lot of people, interviewing a lot of people within the department. She's doing her homework, getting a filler. She has a vision. She hasn't completely shared it with us 100%, but as you know, whoever's been here long enough, every time there's a new commissioner, they come in with their own vision. And this is going to be a whole new commissioner. We haven't had a new commissioner since in the past 12 years, almost 13 years. So there's going to be some changes. Some of them, I guess we'll like, and some of them we might not. I don't know. So people have asked me, what's her plan? I don't know yet. I plan on meeting with her again soon. We're waiting for another date to have another meeting with her to see where she's at now, because you got to give her a minute because she just got here. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. We said we want to be uniform. She might be just that person. Somebody said to me, you better watch what you ask for. I said, you know what? All we can do is time to tell. You know, the jury's still out, and I'm sorry, I'm with mute. I'm hoping that things will look better in our contract. My intention, I hope is your intention, is that when we walk away from that table, that we walk away different. It's not going to happen the first round, but I cannot, this is just my opinion, and I'm hoping that you guys support me. I cannot honestly not try to do better. We could get the percentages. I feel we should get the same percentage, like Carrie said, as the NYPD or whoever. But at the end of the day, we cannot look the same way, because when I did even the numbers with the increases, we still will not reach our top salary, and that to me is unacceptable. So I have to do the best I could do to try to make that change happen. Am I making the promises? No, I'm not making any promises, but I just cannot consciously know that we're going to be stuck the way we've been stuck for the past, as far as I can remember, 36 years. And I just can't do it. I think that we deserve a lot better. And now that I know that they're about to decrease the requirements for the police department, to me is even more. But even though we love working with them, but it's a smack in our face, especially the fact that we have to have, somebody sent me something, I can't see it. I'll look at it in a minute, Siri. I can't imagine that we should be in the same boat that I just can't. And that's like Harry said, as it unfolds, I will definitely provide you with updates through the newsletter. And once we're farther along, we'll do another Zoom meeting so everybody can hear it at the same time. And I will also be making my rounds to locations like I always do, so we can have a dialogue. People had sent in there. What I want to commend the members on is those who had access to the surveys. You sent your surveys, and those we took the most popular 5, which I shared with you in the newsletter, and we incorporate that into our negotiations as well. So I want to thank you for that. March 14th, we had a very wonderful, I was very impressed, rally. Despite the weather, people came out. All 5 boroughs, yay, 27 locations, all represented. And I just want to tell you, my heart just was overwhelmed with joy. Just like when we did it back in June with DC 37 as a little tester, I thought that when at Foley Square, remember those of you who came out? That was a test. And I wanted to see how y'all was going to do. And I was like, okay. And I had told our organizer that they ready, they're going to come out for their money. And y'all showed up and y'all showed out. I think that we got to do some more. I think we need to be a pain in the bunkie butt, like Council Member Holden said. I don't think we should just stop at the rally. I don't think it should stop at the news. I've been on a couple of interviews. Okay, that's great. Wow, that's wonderful. But we got to keep pushing. So we got to keep pushing until we get to what we need. And that means banging down doors. That means we got to bang down doors. I'm meeting with the lobbyists tomorrow. James Green and myself, we're going to meet with the lobbyists tomorrow, and we're going to strategize our next move on which way we should move as far as locally and as far as the state. Like I said, when I inherited my position, I came into a mess. I'm not going to lie, but you know what? We're moving in the right direction. People are seeing us, and they are definitely hearing us. And like I said, between the commissioner and myself, there's going to be a lot of changes, and we'll see what those changes are. Some people might say, well, we don't get paid to get whatever. The whole object of what we're doing is so that we can get paid properly and accordingly. Somebody sent me, one of our colleagues had even did some research, Larry, from the Bronx, did some research for me that was shared with me by his reps in the Bronx. And like I said, you don't always have to show up and be present at the events, but sharing information and research and stuff, it helps us as well. So Larry, he had sent us some information on the different, when I had mentioned that we was told by the city that civilians do not reach their top salary, he did the daggone thing and sent me a whole list of agencies that show that these civilians who are in a citywide contract, just like we are, like I said, specifically the sheriff's office and other peace officers who definitely get to the top salary. There might not be a lot of money, but they definitely get to it. And we know for a fact that the sheriff's office, and I keep using them because they wear uniforms, they carry guns, they're peace officers, but they're not uniformed. Am I right, Greg? They're not uniform, right, Clark? They're not uniform. They're just the sheriff's office. They're civilians because they're in the citywide contract like us as civilians. But after 5 years, they get. I can't hear you, Greg. You're on mute. Unmute. I'm mute. After 5.5.
Yeah, after 5 years, their base salary is $92,000.
After 5.5, $92,000 exactly. So, like I said, and then with the youth council, I use different titles because, like I said, these are all civilians. Youth council is equivalent to a correctional officer, but in a juvenile facility. After 7 years, when they created raise the age, after 7 years, they're gonna get their top salary, whatever that is, $67,000. It's not much, but the fact that they know after 5 years. I even saw a transit title within transit after X amount of years. I think some kind of electrician or something. After 5, I can keep going on, but Hardison, he did the daggone thing. He gave me a whole list of that. We're going to actually take that list and show it to the city when we go to the table. So I want to kudos to him for his help and his participation, and I want to see more suggestions coming in and more suggestions and more research that you can support, or we can follow up and see what we can come out with. Nominations were held on April 12th, and the elections will be in November in areas where there will be people who's going to be running against each other. And we let you know when that date is, but we don't have a date as of yet, but we just had the nominations. Somebody asked about disability. No, somebody just put in the chat about when we get hurt, we don't have unlimited sick, and we don't. What we have is when somebody gets hurt at probation, they get something called an 18-month assault grant. So for 18 months assault grant, you can get your full salary for 18 months without interruption. But the problem is after the 18 months, what then happens if you're not eligible, if you're not well enough to come back to work? Unfortunately, we don't have that where you got I would love to, what I want to do is to get the 3/4 pay. We have to work on that too. But what you don't have is unlimited sick. After that, you either have to go on disability or workman's comp. And that's what we have. So we don't have unlimited sick, but we do have an 18-month assault grant. And we had, unfortunately, a colleague who got hurt in December trying to take somebody down on the rest, and she went out on that 18-month assault grant. And after the 18 month, it's unfortunate. Right. I'll address that. And unfortunate, if she's not well enough to come back to work, she has to then look at her other options. But that is something that also will be on our agenda for the lobbyists to discuss with us. One of the questions that's constantly being asked to me when I go around to the boroughs about NICERS, that they were informed by NICERS. People are saying that NICERS does not calculate our weekend tours, and that's not true. I specifically made sure that I did my own research and I spoke to NICERS myself. And I spoke to NICERS, and I was told by a representative that that's not true. That what's calculated is your years in service and your hours. It has nothing to do with Monday through Friday, Saturday to Sunday, whether you work on the weekends or not. Your hours are your hours, and your time in service is your time in service. So that rumor about NICERS not calculating the weekends is not true. So I just want to let everybody know that all your time is actually put in. And she actually even gave me a little bit more of a formula, but I don't like to get stuff twisted. So what I would do is individuals who's looking to retire within the next, between tomorrow and the future, I suggest that you talk to a person, which I spoke to a person, and you ask them about what you're eligible for, what it looks like. Ask them about the weekend. If you don't think you're being calculated, the numbers is being calculated. That doesn't make sense because NICE doesn't have that ability to take away your weekends and not pay you for it. So I would suggest that you contact NICES. I'll put the phone number. I'll give you NICES phone number. I'll put it in the next newsletter so you can have it and you can check for yourself. Assault grant, that's nominations, claims. One of the issues that we keep having when it comes to claims is that some people are not including the forms. Now, I've put it in the newsletters and it's on our website, www.upoa.com, that you can actually download the forms, the proper forms to submit your claims. And what's going to happen and what we have been doing is denying the claims, because when we get audited by the city, we have to have all the proper documentation. So you have to have the claim form that's associated with your particular either optical, prescription, non-drug, or whatever. I'm gonna talk about non-drug too, Charlene. The non-drug, yeah, I am. And you have to have and with the proof of payments, right, Sean? The proof of payment with the receipts, and your name somehow it has to identify that it's your claim. Because if we don't know who it is, that's another reason for it to be denied. So we have to make sure we have all the proper documentation. When it comes to the non-prescription drugs, It is what it says, non-prescription drugs. It's only for for items that are not drugs. It's not over-the-counter Tylenol. It's not for female usage items. It's not for Gillette shavers. It's not for those kind of items. If you, Finch, you laugh, but it's true. We have gotten claims in for Gillette shavers. And that's a bit much, okay? So when you put in claims for stuff that, if you're not sure, I'd rather you call the office than actually waste our time and your time for stuff that, come on, we should know better than that, right? Also, a non-prescriptive drug is for a brace or a cane or wheelchair, but it has to, Charlie, that has to come from a doctor though. It has to come from a doctor. So, let's be a little bit more mindful. And you send us stuff like canceled checks, a check, the face of a check, but there's no back to the check. We can't accept that because we don't know whether that, I don't know. What are we saying, Charlene, about that? Talk to me. Char.
About the cancel check?
About sending
It has to be
claims.
canceled from the bank, not just a copy of your check, like the front copy of your check.
Right. And
Because we had to show the city proof of payment.
right. You got to show us proof of payment. And sometimes people send us receipts that look like the old school receipt with nothing on it. And
Mhm.
we can't accept that because at the end of the day, we have to be held accountable for every dime that comes out of this office. So we have to be very mindful about how we send claims. And claims also, Charlene, has to be submitted within 1 year service.
1 year from date of service, correct?
From 1 day to service. And optical is every 2 years. I'm going over this
Every
again because people
2
tend to
years.
forget. Every
Yeah.
2 year, right? Every 2
Yeah,
years. So
we are on, I don't have notes in my house. We're on 23, 24. So year 2023, 2024.
right.
So January
20
1st of this year, everyone has, 600 for members, 400 for dependents.
Right. So any questions, any doubts, I'd rather for you to
Yeah, I would say just to give me a call.
just call Charlene at the office and just to get the clarities that you need. So Tanja, you have the flyer for friends and family. And while she's getting that up, the PBA cards, we got more PBA cards. So anybody's interested in getting some more PBA cards, contact your rep and let them know that you want some more cards. Cause I just got some more. Them cards been fast this year. I don't understand. I might have to order some more because we still got new classes coming in. But right now, if you need any more PBA cards, they're $1. Everybody should have gotten their free card and by now. And if you need any additional cards, it's going to be $1 per every additional card. You ready, T? So I don't see nothing. It's not there. We had sent out, I don't see nothing but the word Zoom. Anyway, we had sent out a newsletter a couple of weeks ago and letting everybody know that on August 5th, we're having a Friends and Family Day. It's gonna be on August 5th on a Saturday. So we're gonna have 2 buses leaving from the Bronx, 1 bus from Brooklyn and 1 bus from Queens. Queens Family Court area. Okay, so here's the flyer now. Queens Family Court area, Brooklyn around behind Borough Hall. What street is that? Anyway, we'll put the list up and then the Bronx on the Grand Concourse if people buses leaving. We'll provide you with the time and the locations we'll be leaving. The buses are going to be on the first come, first served basis. So what we're going to start doing is getting a feel of who's going to be going on the bus. Right there, you'll see the bus. For adults is $40, for kids $35, 4 to 12, and babies $33. 3 years old, 3 years and under is free. The union is going to cover the food. We're going to make sure we have enough food. That's just to get you into the park. But we're going to make sure there's enough food and we're going to cover for the cost of the buses. So we had a good time. We went a couple of years ago. We went to Quasi and we had a really good turnout. We had a DJ in the whole 9. I'm going to try to find out if we can have a DJ. For this event, you might want to bring in bathing suits because they have water rides and they have street, they have the ground rides. This park here accommodates everybody of all ages, roller coasters. Okay, so Yvonne Hernandez is asking, so from Queens in Brooklyn, the buses will be leaving at 8 o'clock. So we're going to have a meeting time at 6:45 in the morning. And at 8 o'clock is going to be leaving from Queens and Brooklyn at exactly 8 o'clock sharp. For the Bronx, we should be leaving at 7. We should be meeting at 7:45 and the bus is going to be leaving at 9 o'clock, because it's about a 2-hour drive from the Bronx and probably about a 3-hour ride from Brooklyn. So those who are coming, I hope everybody shows up. Some people might drive. So if you drive, we'll be providing those who's going to drive with parking passes, because you might not want to hang out with us from 11, because the park opens at 11. So you might not want to hang out from 11 to 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the evening. Okay, you might not want to hang out with us. You might want to bounce after the kids get tired. You might want to go about your business. So for those who are going to drive, we're going to make sure you have free parking passes. But the tickets should be on sale. We should have the tickets available, I'm hoping, by the end of next week or the top of the following week. So August 5th, I'm waiting for Tandra to tell us. I think 2 weeks before then, the monies and stuff have to be due. We'll have a list of who's getting on the bus, who's going to take their cars, and we're going to have fun. And I think we need to just get out and have a good time in Musa and just go crazy and just have a good time. It's going to be a lot of food. So I hope you bring, your family and have a good time. That first year we had it, somebody there almost had like a family reunion, but that's okay. They had a good time. That's what's more important. Next slide, the t-shirt, the hoodie.
Let me add, I plan to update the flyer to put the bus information and the pay dates.
And
when
the pay
money is
dates and
due.
times. Yeah, all this is gonna be repeated again. And I will do another, and as we get up to the time, we'll continually remind you guys about the event. So like I said, I don't know if some people want to do a payment plan. Our executive board will talk about that at our next meeting about how this is going to work out. But I really look forward to everybody. We had a really good turnout last time, and that's why I make sure all that we have the buses in the locations, and everybody can maybe get to those buses in some kind of way. Like I said, if you don't want to drive, if you don't want to get in the bus, you can definitely drive up there, but we'll give you passes to get in, and then we'll figure out everything else. And what else I want to tell you? I think that's on the Friends and Family Day. Then we had at the rally, we had given out t-shirts as an incentive to get people out. No, we did. We gave out hoodies to get people an incentive to come out, but that time has passed. So I understand that people are very much interested in purchasing the hoodies, they're really nice. So the hoodies are now on sale. And Tandra's going to show you a picture of the hoodies. You get a chance to find them. But I think they $40. How much are the hoodies, y'all? 40? I don't know.
45. I think they're
45, whatever.
And I think the 2X.
The
and
bigger
up,
hoodies are.
Right, the 2X and up is 45.
Hold on a minute. I'll tell you in a minute. Hold on.
And the extra large,
Hey,
I had it.
I got it. If you get a chance, you can still
Thank
try it. So the hoodies are the small to extra large is $40, and anything 2X and up is $45. And when you get a chance, you can always check the website. They come in royal blue and navy blue hoodie, and they really nice quality hoodies. So those are on sale. The National Puerto Rican Day Parade is coming up. It's in June 25th. So that's going to be our kickoff to the fundraising for the breast cancer, for the Making Stride. So we're working on those t-shirts now, and we hope to see as many people as possible. Bring your friends and families to come join us for the National Puerto Rican Day Parade. We also have the Israel Parade. I think Mark told me about that parade. That parade is coming up. We always participate in that parade. That's also in June. We're trying to get registered with the Pride Parade, but that's a very hard. I'm trying to find out who to contact for that parade, because when I did register, it seemed like we had to register as vendors, and we're not vendors. So I'm trying to get us in that parade as well, because we have a good time when we come out. We have a really good time. And it's not just all about rallies, it's about being seen in the community and people, and that's not the way people recognize us too. So when we have 5, 2, 3 people in the parade, which I'm grateful, but it looks good when we have even more of us and we have a good time. Now we have a wagon, so we can drag the wagon with us on the parade. We can put water in there and snacks that people can eat and they don't have to be thirsty. And then naturally comes up our annual African Day Parade, which comes up in September or August or something. So we'll be attending those, participating in that. So I'd like to see more people come out and participate. You didn't get a hoodie. You didn't get a hoodie. Did you go to the Bonita? I'll call you. I'll call you, Bonita. I'll call you. Okay. what else? I think that is it, the PBA cards, the commissioner, and the claims. So you heard Council Member Holden talk about our success stories. I think that's a great idea. If you can share with us some success stories from your caseload, how you've changed somebody's life and made a difference in somebody's life, that's something I think you should want to shout out. I have even thought about having somebody come and speak about their experience as a probationer or on probation, you know, somebody else on probation. But that's something that we have to get clearance from the department, that because the best one to tell a story is the one that's been there, done that, right? So if we can get somebody to come and speak at one of our events, I'm thinking about I am going to do another event outside soon. I just got to figure out when. I got to check with our organizers and our lobbyists to see when it's a good time, because we need to be a thorn in their hip. Okay, so stay tuned, because there's going to be another event coming up, and we got to get it while it's hot. And right now it's real hot, and we got to come out and get that money. So I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and I will keep you posted. As soon as we get to the table, a couple of rounds, I'll keep you up to date. So thank you. And any questions, go to Jeff, make sure I'm saying this right, unitedprobation@gmail.com.
That is correct.
Thank you, Jeff. So any questions or concerns, go to unitedprobation@gmail.com. And we got to find out what happened, because for some reason this thing didn't let more people in. So I don't want anybody to think that, and let your colleagues know that if they didn't get in, that we have a YouTube site, Jeff, YouTube.
Yes, I don't know offhand what it is, but I'll make sure in the next newsletter, I'll include the link to it.
Okay, so you heard Jeff. So we always record these meetings, and they will be posted on YouTube. So if you didn't catch everything or somebody missed something, just refer them to the YouTube. Okay. All right. Have a good night. All right.
Good night, Trina.
Good night,
Yeah.
y'all. Thank you for showing up.
All right,
Hey,
see you
Trina,
tomorrow.
Good night.
I
See you
just
tomorrow,
want
Jane.
to, I just want to
Good night,
say,
everyone.
All right. So
I just want to say one thing. They had a BC incumbent test about a year ago.
who's this? Oh, stop. Go ahead.
They had a BC incumbent test.
Who's speaking? Who's this?
This is Cooley.
Okay, got you. Go ahead.
They had a BC incumbent test like about, I think was it last year, the year before, and only incumbents could apply.
Got you.
So
So
they
I
had
got you.
another BC test. It's just they limited.
no, that wasn't a BC test, Anita. I mean, Cooley. It wasn't.
What
That was
it?
what you said. That was an incumbent. That was a qualified incumbent exam. What we want is a open, was it competitive exam, a promotional exam. You want a promotional? No, you want a promotional exam. You know how you took the supervisor test?
No, I get that part, but I'm just saying how we were cut out.
Right, exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
So what I mentioned to the commissioner that we have now, I said to her, and she's already on it. When we met with her last week, I said to her, and I said to her, matter of fact, I said it to city council too. If you look at the testimony that I distributed, I think Jeff linked it. In my testimony, I mentioned it hasn't been a test since 2007. So what we want is a promotional exam. We don't represent the administrative probation officers, but we represent supervising probation officers. And I don't think it's fair that we can't get a chance to move up in this department. Everybody should have a fair chance to move up. So I'm on it, Cooley, I'm on it.
Okay, I just want to know, just put it out there that there was a quote test. It just
You
wasn't
could, it doesn't
everybody.
apply to you. It doesn't apply to me.
I know, but I'm just saying how
It wasn't a test.
the one
Cooley.
time they do put out a test.
I'm gonna tell you what that was, Cooley. That was there was a real quick. There was a Long Beach case that somebody sued because they had too many provisionals, right? So it's a whole case with this, right? So the city and the counties and stuff, the person sued, the people sued, and they had to get rid of. They had too many provisionals. So the counties and the city of New York, they kept giving them extensions, and how they get around that provisional titles is that they do QIEs, qualified incumbent. So what this department's been doing is, instead of giving an exam, right? Because they definitely had a need, right? So they haven't given an exam since 2007. They bring in whoever they want to bring in, friends and family, whoever they want to bring in for these positions from the street or whatever. They have them on titles for 2 years. They had a deadline. It might have been, what year is this, 2023? The deadline, I think was 2021, is when they had that QIE. And to meet and to save those people jobs, because they was entitled, those positions, they was in position for 2 years, they gave that QIE instead of giving an exam. So you're right. But the QIE was only to protect those in those positions.
Okay,
And that, and like, oh, like education and employment. Yeah, so you're right. But the commission is definitely on it. So hopefully we'll be seeing something soon because it's not fair. And that's
Okay.
another thing. So between the salaries and the ability to grow, we're stagnant. Our pockets are stagnant and our ability to grow in this department is stagnant. And that has to change.
and don't forget how they downsized the SPO's position and made it a PO or a clerk.
What you mean?
Like we used to do the resources where we actually go out to assess the different community programs. That was an SPO spot. Now that's
Well, I
no
didn't know
longer,
that.
that's no longer an SPO spot.
Who's doing it?
I think a community associate or one is a probation officer in another borough. They took us out of that equation.
We gotta look at the job description because was it ever our job? You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I don't know. We used to do it.
That don't mean it was in our job description either.
Okay. I'm
So
just
let's look
saying
at it.
how
No, I'm
what
saying let's look
little
at it though.
lateral moves we could possibly had, it's shrunk.
Or did it increase in some ways too?
Right.
Right?
It's
Because
shrunk.
some things we doing is managerial, and why are we doing that? Right? Right.
Yeah.
All right. So with that said, I don't know if anybody else want to make a comment. I'm going to close it out for tonight.
Okay.
All right, you have a good one, and I'll be around to the boroughs again. And I think some people are having Mother's Day events in Manhattan, in Queens, and in the Bronx. So if you guys want to let everybody know about your event, that's cool. And I want to see more boroughs start having more events. If you need monies for us to give to you to have the events, let us know, okay? But you need to start doing things in your boroughs to show some unity in our and take a break. I might buy you all guys a bunch of games so you can have a game day every now and then. All right, good night. Thank
night.
you. Good night.
Good night.
Everybody. Get home safe.